So I also wanted to speak about this because Hugo Broos, in light of everything that we've been speaking about now, Hugo Broos came out and he also said some things, you know. Let me read you what he said. Let's see. The Belgian tactician expressed his annoyance with the PSL, revealing he had sent a letter to the PSL officers to not have a DSTV Premiership match day on the 30th and 31st December, but there was no response. The 2023 AFCON kicks on 13 January, with Bafana Bafana starting their campaign against Mali on the 16th of January, leaving Broos and his players little time to prepare. The players will have started at the beginning of August, and 80% of the Bafana players are playing in the top teams in South Africa, so that means they'll play many games. It should have been very good for these players to give them 6 or 7 days off. PSL should have stopped on the 23rd of December, like I asked immediately after the end of last season. Within 2 days after the last game was finished, and the next day we sent the letter and asked them to please stop the PSL on the 23rd, and also the reason why, so the players can get some time. Did they read the letter? I don't know. They ignored it. When I saw the program, the first thing I did was to see if it stopped, and I saw 30 and 31st December, and I said, okay, why was I expecting something? It doesn't interest them. The PSL. They just don't want to give you a good opportunity and a good environment to prepare the team. Bruce was then asked whether he faced similar challenges in Cameroon when he won the 2017 AFCON, and he insisted it was a completely different scenario. As the Foot, I'm guessing that's the SAFA, put the national team first. To give you an example, I was 2 weeks in Cameroon and I asked for a meeting with the coaches and they were all there. Here I did already 4 attempts. I'm not blaming the coaches. 4 attempts, 4 times is postponed by the PSL. You asked PSL now for stopping the league 1 week earlier to give the players off and get no response. I just have to do this in Cameroon. If it was for the national team, everything you wanted, I wanted a camp. Okay, coach, what do you want? I want a camp then to prepare. We went to Equatorial Guinea to prepare for AFCON because we thought it was the best thing to do. No problem. Okay, coach, what do you want? 4 or 5 days, that's okay. I went to the team manager to Equatorial Guinea to look for the hotel, to look for the pitch, to look for everything. We came back, we said here, this is what we want, that is what we asked, no problem. Here it's totally different. There, everything moves when it was the national team. Here, the national team has to move for the PSL. I'm very sorry, but it is like that. There is no collaboration. That is national team coach Hugo Broos. I'm using this picture here because this is when he won it with Cameroon. And I think the most frustrating thing as well is that nobody wins when the PSL and SAFA and everybody are beefing. We know about the relationship with the PSL and SAFA. We spoke on it. We touched on it a little bit earlier in the day when we spoke about the African Football League and Sundowns taking part and how that had to go through a whole lot of different changes in order for it to be approved. But here's the national team coach who's won it before, who's telling you possibly how to win it, and I need this, I need that, and nobody's coming to the party. And I know he's pointing a lot of fingers to the PSL, but he also needs to look at his employer. But to use what Malume Kutso usually says, I'll try one of his metaphors. Hey, Hugo Broos, don't compare your ex to now, because your ex and now you chose somebody else, and now you have to live with it. Ketile. And this is the SAFA that you have to deal with. It's sad that you can't sit down with the coaches. You know, we speak about rugby, the comparisons with rugby and cricket all the time. Rugby has the council of coaches where they sit down with the national team coach and they go through things and they have their inputs and they told how to make things better and how to get these players right. But just the other year, the PSL coaches were complaining that Hugo Broos doesn't speak to us. He just requests the players. So it seems that there's a bigger communication issue that is happening here, but also there's a lack of care, about our national team and how we're going to fare going forward. So let me let in the next panel so that we can have a brief conversation about this. Then we can talk about how Bafana performed versus Eswatini. Sinje.
Yebo.
You back?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, first of all, I think
What do you make of these comments? What do you make of these comments?
no, I think first of all, Tata, I don't know who does he think he is.
Wait. Let me check.
When I mean
Somebody is not muted. Please, guys, mute when you come in. Okay, there we go,
yeah.
Sanjay. Sorry about that. You can go on.
No. I'm saying that Lotata does not. I don't think I understand. But South Africa is not Cameroon. You can't come here and compare our league with Cameroon. Yeah. La kuna sponsors. La kuna investors that have invested billions of rands into the PSL. DSTV has given SuperSport has given billions of rands that they have a match on the 31st. They have a match on the first. They have a match on those last days because then people bavali Espani and they're going to watch those matches. You can't just cancel them. You can't because they're going to generate revenue from those matches. DSTV knows that compact subscribers are going to be at home. Bavule SuperSport, 202, babukele PSL. They know exactly the amount of revenue that Bafana generates. They know how many people watch Bafana game. Now you are saying you must not
Stop the
play
league early.
Stop the league early so that I can have time. Where are they going to get the money that they are going to get that week? You must think this is business. This is not a do as football is business. And you must understand that it's business minded as well. You can't just come this, do that. I want the players off. I want them off for 7 days. When you are taking them off, you are costing the clubs money. The masters do not pay clubs to get their players into Bafana. You must understand that it's not Cameroon here where they don't have the league is not business orientated, where the clubs revenue. Hey, our league is very expensive. The money that is generated from our league, you must understand our league is content. And as content creators, I think you guys would understand better that SuperSport is making a lot of money with that content that is going to be created particular week that Hugo Boss is asking for it not to happen. Where is SuperSport going to get that money from? And he's not putting something. You must understand sometimes when you are requesting something, you must also put something on the table.
Yeah.
You can't say I'm requesting you to close and now you are not putting anything on the table as an alternative to what was supposed to happen during that week. This man must not think.
Shouldn't there be stronger connections so that I'm worried that Hugo Bruce is the one putting in these requests. I'm worried that Hugo Bruce is the one going to the PSL. Shouldn't these things between SAFA and the PSL, they should have spoken about these things to say, okay, guys, what can you accommodate? What can't you accommodate? What can we do? How can we fix this? What does that say about the relationship between SAFA and the PSL?
Clive Barker won this league. We won the AFCON without asking PSL to be closing early. You must not think that he's the very first coach of Bafana here. Then everything we must now Tatazela because he's here. We have Bafana coaches that have been successful. You mustn't think that we are. It doesn't work that way. We are. This is my problem with Hugo Boss is that he thinks it's this chamba boy that has just arrived and all the girls must now Tatazela around him. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. He must, first of all, this is a decision that he should have actually sat down, in particular with coaches and managers and owners of clubs, and then they can get on board on his vision.
But shouldn't SAFA have done this? Because it feels as though SAFA is also leaving him out to dry.
Of course, they're going to leave him out to dry when he's going to make utterances such as that one without consulting SAFA. I don't blame SAFA for hanging and drying because, first of all, he makes this blaze where I don't think he has consulted anyone in any managerial position that this is what I'm going to do to the people. He just says things. He just says things. He just says things. And then he's surprised. First of all, he must first start by winning the pitch. I keep on saying this. People would rather watch Kaizer Chiefs, the Pirates playing. Imagine people would rather spend money go watch Khosana in 2023 than go watch Bafana Bafana. That should tell him. That is him. When they say, you are not interesting in this country. You are not the rock star. This guy must learn. He is not the rock star that he thinks he is.
For times in let me jump in. Belila, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Ngiyaphila mntama kunjani?
No, right, Belila. Now Hugo Prusa Kuluma Guti. No. Yeah, I can hear you. Now Hugo Prusa Kuluma Guti. Hi guys, I've asked for things, they're not being done. I've asked the PSL when I was at Cameroon. What do you think of what he's been saying?
First of all, angazi ngofaka lesithombe sakhe phezulu lapha nekhaya ukuthi uzama ukuprove le point nawe. Angithola. I don't know kahle kahle. Wasicala ngikutela. Maybe na last week ngishilo nasemini ngikutshelile ukuthi as long as saseyile khehla nje akunalapho siya khona. Angikwazi uzama ukuprove ni wena. Nawe lesithombe.
Oh, are you still with me?
Oh, there we go. Person when he arrived in South Africa, ne? Yes. When he first arrived,
No stress, no stress.
When he first arrived in the country, he just and make himself like a king as behave like a boy instead of like finding out that South Africa kunjani. Mawufika emzini abantu uyahlonipha mntakababa. Awufiki nje ukhahlela inyawo noma ungazi kangakanani. You first have to understand the culture of that country, football. So uvula ikha awukwenzi lokho. And nakhona futhi uyacela imvume ebantwini abakuphethe before uzovula ifridge nani. Yena instead of like throwing all those utterances makabona imedia naye makabona amakhamera behavior njengoMorgan Mamela. You need to address some issues like SAFA. SAFA as the motherboard, you need to communicate in the PSL. Akusumsebenzi wakhe lo to go there and rubbish our football players and rubbish football teams. That's not his job. Umsebenzi wakhe ukuhlanganisa i-team iBafana Bafana and go and represent the country. And he must stop behaving as if like iBafana Bafana is a team. It's not a team, it's a national team. Which means you select the best available players that you can use. On that level, you're not coaching. You're just implementing you choose the best players that will fit in your system. You go and play. Even if you can train for 2 days, that's a national team job. You know, that's how hard it is. I find a team you will need weeks and weeks and weeks. No, this is a national team. Go out there, select players. Who's costing the foot? What's cost to get World Cup? That World Cup sport was there for the taking. Yonke into bengakithi mntakababa iCovid ivimbile abantu bangeza South Africa angakhetha amaplayer angabisha namhlanje he's singing praises about uThemba Zwane but he was the one abangasafika la he was the same person beyangamfuni that he was so people were crying good why uThemba Zwane bangadlali and make all these excuses on this one he just body himself yonke lento ayenzayo and then he must deal with it akunankinga naye personally but emsebenzi when it comes.
Does this expose something, Guti? Again, I always say on this platform, More, your coach has roles and they shouldn't be, I know he talks a lot, Mara, he shouldn't be the one sending emails. He shouldn't be the one. PSL outside of Bruce and his attitude. Why don't we show Safa and PSL? Because it feels as though we're asking the coach to scout, to send emails, to get meetings together, to do this, to do that. When players are not paid, all of these things. What does this say about Safa and even the PSL?
We've been saying that EPSL and Safa, there is a lot that still need to be done there. Especially we know ubani abalwayo laphayana. It's Danny Jordaan no Irvin Khoza. They bring in they bought their politics wangale kukhongolose bawalethe ebholeni. So now we are stuck with it. Whether we like it or not, those are the two bulls that are fighting, but unfortunately the grass has to suffer, which is us. But now coach isn't make things easy for himself ukuzifaka into ezingamfuni futhi. Because according to kumele uzifake kuzo, you are employed by SAFA, deal with your employer. The external thing is a PSL, that leave that to SAFA, address it with SAFA and let it be fixed. When I puma lap.
Okay.
So yeah. Yiko nje lokho mphakathi.
No, thank you, Veli. Let me go to Kolani. Kolani, what do you make of these comments by Hugo Bruce? He sends letters, he does all these things, the PSL. Then he told us, in Cameroon, they used to do everything for me.
You won't get a response with PSL. You won't get a response. What is his business with PSL? What is his business? When play ubando muntu safa ne. So uhlangana with the PSL bit. Usenda ama emails are wrong bit.
Mela tumeli email internal.
Yeah, bro. Agreement safa yena bit.
Yeah.
He should have done research yakhe lo muntu lo. Okay, how do they operate in South Africa? I find out are they operating the same as where I'm coming from, Lokuzeni, Cameroon. So the way I would say Cameroon, everything about a national, even Premier League, yes. Compared to South Africa, EPSL is more like a private company, and then it's a state. So you can't compare apple and oranges. As compared I'm apple to apple. So I think agent failed him on that. Research
but let's speak about I want to speak about SAFA and the PSL. Surely, if you guys want the best for the nation, and you guys would sit down together at some point and say, guys, hi guys, corner AFCON January, corner this, corner that. Can we make a plan or decide together what we can do? Why are they failing to do that? Shouldn't that be their job? And I know Hugo Bruce is loud, but isn't Hugo Bruce exposing even more that thing? Yoguti, Amara guys, I'm not saying that they have to close early, but I can't have my players late if we want to win this AFCON for real. So that does well for the country, quote unquote. And then for SAFA to also look at Bruce and say, Mara Bruce has been EPSL has to do X, Y, and Z because of the deals with the sponsors that they have. Why is it Guti? Nababantu, they don't come to the table. Benzani. All this time, Hugo Bruce aside, Benzani.
Keywords. Do they want the best for the country? Is that interest in the best? Interest is in the best of the country. So I think no one wants the best for the country. And to echo what Usinji actually EPSL it's based on content, and to make matters worse, ISAFA iwathathile ithathe ama rights to televise ama games ebafana. So ngizomsupporta kanjani kumuntu ongafuni ukuthi ngitelevise ama games akhe? Why should I stop my
download SABC Plus?
Come on, please. No, I'm asking you. I'm asking on the parts of idiskitv. Like they want me to close early, whereas they don't want me to show their matches. So where would I get my revenues? idiskitv televise ama matches ebafana. Maybe the company nabo bezozama ukuthi try to meet them halfway, if you know what I'm saying.
No, okay. It's in for King Tefu. How are you, my brother?
I'm good, my brother. Unjani?
No, hey, I'm okay, Marai. Lento ang party gahle because ngapha Lo uthi akana mali, lo uthi this and this. Manje coach yaphuma uthi, yeah, you guys don't want the best for Ibafana Bafana. What do you have to say about these comments by Hugo Bruce? Ngoba I'm starting to feel as though both of them don't care about how the national team has to go, whether it's PSL, whether it's Safa, whether it's Bruce. They don't care. Ngoba they don't need to be doing this publicly. Marana guze aphuma. What do you think of these comments he made?
Mina mfowethu, I think okwenza uHugo Bros kumele siku-compliment sometimes u-expose laba abantu esithi basiphathele i-football yethu la kwi-country. Because uma ungathi uthatha ukubheka uHugo Bros uhambe waya eCameroon. He won an AFCON there on 2017 with the same strategy that he was trying to bring in our country. But then if you look at that bamvalela ngaphandle, especially uPSL nama coaches wakhona, because even engakadlali ngisho igame eyi-1, he tried ukuthi ahlangane nama PSL coaches ama team, but they refused. And he even said ukuthi he has tried about 4 times now ukuthi ahlangane nama PSL coaches. I don't know ukuthi ukuhlangana nama PSL coaches, ama PSL club coaches ukuthi kuzolisiza ngani iqembu, but I think ukuthi somehow yena khona la kholelwa khona uzosiza ngakho, because nakho eCameroon uyasho ukuthi he did the very same thing. It helped him because na cup by win ne Cameroon. I think kunempi elwayo phakathi ka PSL no Safa. Thina mhlawumbe singeke siyazi. But mina I feel sorry for lo madala lo uHugo Bros. Angisho ukuthi mhlawumbe uwenza kahle noma uphethe kahle iqembu. But enye indlela engibuka ngayo ukuthi mhlawumbe izinto angazi ukuthi ayihambi kahle on his side is just because there's this football politics that are going on between Safa and PSL. Uyangithola. So that's why ngazuthi naye ama results awahambi kahle kunama conflict nani. This guy is trying his very best. I'm sure ukuthi yena he wants to prove many people wrong that he can do his job properly. But then there are some doors that they are being shut for him.
Okay. No, my brother, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to the panel. Look, guys, you know how I feel about Hugo Bros. I don't like laundry outside. I don't like these things spoken about, especially when it feels as though these guys are not speaking. So for me, if I'm on the PSL side, I don't appreciate somebody speaking out who's not my employee, who doesn't work for me, and who's not calling out his own employees. So I understand from that point of view. My issue is that one more time, we see this relationship between the PSL and ISAFA play out again in the ugly way, right? These are not meant to be issues. You know, Dr. Irvin Khoza is a board member via PSL at Safa, right? Even besides that, them being the association and the PSL being the league, they should sit together and say, guys, for the good of Ibafana Bafana, regardless of whether Hugo Bros is there, for the good of the country, let's sit together and figure some things out. We all knew that AFCON was coming. We all knew that January was going to be a hectic month. Now, I can't ask PSL to take away revenue. I also can't ask Safa to get the people late. But what you can ask is those two need to sit down in a room and iron these things out, because we can't keep seeing all of this happening out in public. We can't keep having the same things being said all the time. Yeah, I spoke to this one, I spoke to this one, I spoke to this one. In a perfect world, the PSL is meant to go, guys, we are volunteering our coaches. Hugo Bruce, you are the national team coach. Here are the dates when we can do it. Bring them here. In a perfect world, SAFA is meant to go to the PSL and say, PSL, Alvin, is it possible for us to shift this and this and this? Look at what happened with Mamelodi Sundowns, right? Now these same things are happening with the national team. And you look at it, and again, I'll say it one more time. You don't see this indifference in the other sporting codes. You don't see this. And now we are relegated to this every single time. These things, for me, are simple things to be fixed. Simple things. SAFA and the PSL should be part and parcel of sitting together, especially on things like dates, guys. Dates. You're telling me, Uti, all of the people that work at SAFA, all of the people that work at PSL, can't sit together, put a calendar up and say, okay, guys, this is what we can do. This is what you can do. Let's come together and make it possible. So for me, I don't enjoy Hugo Bruce speaking out loud because these are not things we should be hearing. And also, he always does it in one direction. It's always to the PSL instead of going, Mara, my bosses at SAFA as well need to sit down and speak about this thing with the PSL. He shouldn't be sending emails and stuff like that. But what he does show is that, guys, gulit everywhere. These people genuinely don't get along. And it harms our football.